Well, hi there, advisors. It's Noreen from the product development team at Creative Memories Home Office, and I want to thank you for taking some time away from your advisor event to spend with me and learn about some of the new products that are launching on Monday, September 8th. Now, you probably have seen these, and I am guessing that there were some great big oohs and ahs and wows when you saw the sneak peeks of these products. So, what I want to do is go over them briefly. This set of products that you see on my table, and another. And then we're going to talk a little bit about some of the things you need to know to help your customers, and also, we're going to be doing a little project together near the end that you can do with your customers. So, let's start off with Copper Canyon 2. We are so excited that we were able to bring you a revised, updated, slightly different version than the wildly popular Copper Canyon that was originally brought out in Secret Box #1 back in 2024. So we brought it back, given a bit of a refresh, and we hope that the thousands of people who requested that we bring out Copper Canyon as a regular collection are going to be as excited as we are. So I'm not going to do any projects using Copper Canyon 2. There are a number of projects that you've seen that you can draw inspiration from. Of course, you can go back and look at the projects done in Secret Box #1 from 2024. And of course, there will be a playbook available when you and your customers purchase the Buy It All bundle of Copper Canyon 2. So you're going to have lots of inspiration for using this gorgeous collection. We're really thrilled, though, that we've got the new caramel color in this collection. So you're going to see that it works with beige, island waters, dark sea green, caramel, and hot fudge. So it'll extend and work with original Copper Canyon, but you've got that additional option of the caramel cardstock. So again, we've got a beautiful 12-pack of paper. I've got 6 of the papers here, and you can see that we've kind of taken the inspiration of some of the patterns from the original Copper Canyon and again kind of changed them up. I love this really painterly one, and this one that kind of looks like an inside of a geode, for example. Then we have the gorgeous ombre patterns and all of the lovely tonals. So it's going to be a great collection to work with. Of course, we have the stickers with all of the great sayings, icons, and borders. And we have used some of the same font. So again, it will coordinate back to Copper Canyon, the original Copper Canyon. The map pack, which of course you would not have had in the original collection, is great. It's got lots of double and single map cards. And I believe that you're going to see a few of these in some of the marketing images, but they're just stunning and they're going to work with so many different photos. And then we've got the embellishments, and these are great because they are foiled with a copper foiling. So I know the camera always has a hard time picking some of the foil up, but these are great. Again, lots of icons, hearts, little fillers, some great titles, Our Day, The Good Life. I really like that one. And Bravo. So they're going to be really helpful titles and word art for, again, a variety of different types of events, different types of photos. There's one there that says snapshots. And then to round out the decorative products, we've brought back the rub-ons. So I do just want to give you a couple more tips for using the rub-ons because they are so stunning. So I've gone ahead and I've actually done one of the little copper foiled hearts from the rub-on collection. You can see I cut it out of this piece here. But let's just go over it and so that you know how to use these so you can help your customers. So the first thing is you're going to want to help them select the rub-on that they want to use. And we recommend actually cutting it out. So I'm going to use this kind of swatch of it looks like a paintbrush mark. And I'm actually going to cut that into 2 pieces. And that's what I love about the rub-ons, because you can really stretch them. So I'm going to cut this into 2 pieces. And let's go ahead and put one kind of at the top here and then one at the bottom here. So you can use them in different places on your layout or your project. Now what you want to do after you've cut out the image that you're working with, you're going to peel off the backing. So you're going to have kind of a almost a wax paper sort of feel. And then you're going to have the gray piece with the ink. Now the ink is on the reverse side. So you're going to want to place it ink side down. And then we recommend using the multi-purpose tool. Again, it's up to you which side you want to use. I like to use the side of the short end. So not the point, not the very point, but I kind of like to use the side because I can get more pressure. So I'm just going to start to kind of go over this, and literally I'm just rubbing, and I'm trying not to move the paper or the film, I guess, that the rub-on is on. And I'm just going over. I like to focus along the edges. Then you're going to peel off one corner and just sort of gently look to see if it's releasing from the backing paper or not. So you can see that was a clean release. There's none left here. And of course, now we've transferred onto the paper. So that's how you're going to be able to use those gorgeous copper foiled rub-ons. And again, I encourage you to think about, cutting some of these in half, especially the splotches and the drips and kind of the circles. Those would be great, kind of tucked in behind some of these embellishments. So you'll want to really get the most out of them as you can. Then to finish off the Copper Canyon collection, we've got a new punch that I think will be very versatile for a number of different collections. We've got the new Ornate Ripples border punch, and you can see it's kind of got a little bit of a teardrop look to it, a little bit of a bridge or a scallop look to it. You're going to be able to create a lot of different decorative designs with this. So I just have it punched out from some Island Waters cardstock, but we're going to do something a little bit special with this later on. So those are the products that you would receive in the Buy It All bundle: the paper, stickers, matte pack, the embellishments, rub-ons, and the Ornate Ripples tool. Of course, the album is sold separately, but this is one you don't want to miss. Just a gorgeous combination of the Caribbean cloth, copper and white and teal foil. So we know that Copper Canyon 2 is going to be super, super popular. So we can't wait to see the response from you and your customers. Now, the second thing that you might have seen during the sneak peek at your advisor event were the 7 gorgeous foiled papers from the Let It Shine foiled paper buffet promo. Now, these papers are based on the gold or molten lava paper that was in our secret box number 1 from this year. So again, we heard so many of you say, wow, this is gorgeous. We need a whole pack of that. So we went one better and we've created 7 different packs. So we've got the gold, the platinum, black, Island Waters, dark green, cranberry, and plum for you. And so these are all part of the buffet that will start on Monday, September 8th. And the first 6, gold, platinum, black, Island Waters, dark green, and cranberry, those will be available in any quantity that you want to purchase. But purchasing any 6 of those will qualify you to receive the exclusive Plum Molten Lava paper pack absolutely free. Of course, in our buffets, it's a tiered buffet. So if you purchase 6 to 11 of the paper packs, you'll receive 1 of the plum. If you purchase 12 to 17, you'll get 2 packages of the plum. And if you purchase 18 or more of these 6 regular colors, then you'll receive 3 packs of the plum. So I think these are going to go fast. I think everybody is going to want at least 1 of each. Of course, we have a one-click bundle, which makes it easy to get 1 of each of these packs in your bundle. So I thought we would do a little bit of a project with this because these papers are so gorgeous, but you may not know what to do with them. You and your customers may look at them, and these might become the types of papers that you keep in your stash and never use because they're too pretty. Well, I thought that there would be a couple of different ways that I could show you how to use several different colors on a layout and really make them go a long way. They'll be able to enjoy them in a variety of different projects. So the first project that I wanted to do with you is something that I like to call crazy squares. And I first did this about 5 years ago before I was working for home office, and you can actually still search for that video. If you just search for Crazy Squares Border, you'll find it. I did it with the Electric Summer Collection and created just kind of that top border. And there was a few tweaks that I made to it so that it would create both a top and a bottom border, 2 borders. And I'm going to show you how to do that today. And I think this would be amazing with any color combination here. I've used the gold, platinum, plum, and island waters. And all you really need is 4 squares. So look at this tiny little square. So if you think about how much of a paper that is, you're going to be able to stretch your papers really, really far. So if you want to just create 1 border, you're going to need 4 squares. So I've got 4 2 3/4 inch by 2 3/4 inch squares. In the original video that I did, we used 3-inch squares, and then we had to cut off the edges. So I've adapted it, and we're going to use 2 3/4 inch squares, and that's going to work perfectly with no extra cutting needed. So if you just want to do 1 border, you're going to need 4 squares. If you wanted to do a second border, top and bottom, you're going to need 8 squares. And of course, this would be great with, the 2 borders stretched across a double page layout, maybe at the top or the bottom. Or of course, you could put them on the outside edges of a 2-page layout. So lots and lots of possibilities for this. And I'm very thankful that the camera is picking up all of the shimmery foiled goodness that these papers have. Okay, so let me just clear off the papers themselves and bring in my 12-inch trimmer. Now, as I said, I've already cut these, but we do have to do a little bit of cutting. The idea behind the crazy squares is that we take the squares, we cut all 4 of them exactly the same into some unusual shapes, and then we reassemble the squares with a small amount of space showing between them to create that mosaic or crazy pattern square look. Okay, so again, I've got all 4 of my different colors. And because we're cutting into 4 pieces, that's why we want to have 4 colors. So we're going to cut through all 4. And again, if you want to do the top and bottom, we're going to cut through all 8. And I know what you're saying, I don't like cutting through all 8, but it's small enough that you can hold it together really, really nicely. So we're going to place it into our trimmer on whatever angle you want. Doesn't really matter. There's no specific way to do this. It's crazy. So again, whatever angle you want. So you're going to hold them down. Now with 8 papers, you are going to have to go back and forth a couple of times. So you're just going to press down, slowly go through. That's probably cut through 2 or 3 of the top layer. Go back again, and maybe 1 more time. And I can feel that I've got through all 8 now. Okay, so then we're going to keep them all stacked up again. We're going to cut through each set or each stack 1 more time. So let's just place it down again, kind of an opposite angle. Do the same thing, gently cutting through both. And as I move these off of my trimmer, I want to keep them arranged kind of in that square pattern. So that's how those two pieces started. And then let's do this one like this, slowly going through. This is the bottom piece, and this is the top piece. So you can see that I cut through them a little bit differently than I did for this set of crazy squares. So now I'm bringing in my base page, and I'm using the black shimmer because, you know, why not? Let's get as much shimmer and shine. Let's let it shine. And now we're going to take these pieces and mix them up and rearrange them. So I'll show you sort of how I think about this. Now, because we've got 2 3/4 inch squares that we started with, that's going to give us about 1/8 of an inch in between all of our pieces. So I'm going to take my first one, and I'm just going to kind of dry fit them. But I'm going to go 1/8 of an inch in and 1/8 of an inch down. Then I'm going to take a different color, so I'm going to the silver here. I'm just going to kind of pop that there. And then I don't want gold, I don't want silver, I want another color here. And then I don't want any of the colors that I've already used, so I want my fourth color, which will be the island waters. So that has created my first crazy square. So now you can see why it's important that you kind of keep all your pieces together. So my next piece for the start of my next square, I'll put that down. And then maybe I want my gold here, or maybe I want a different color. Maybe I want the plum there, so I can move kind of the gold somewhere else. Maybe I'm going to do my gold here, and then the teal. So I'm just going to go through until I have all 4 of my pieces. Let's do a teal there so we're not exactly the same. But I'm going to have all 4 squares rearranged, and each square is going to have 1 piece of each of the colors. So I need the gold one now. There we go. And then I'll probably do the silver one up top here. And see, you're going to have to shimmy them over so that you're leaving about the same amount of space in between each time, which is why it's a great idea to dry fit them. And then my last piece there. So once you get them all in place and you've got your nice margins and things, that could be done. So that would be a great border, and you can add your photos down here. But if you went ahead and cut 4 more, then you can go ahead and do the same on the bottom. And what I liked to do is just kind of almost flip it. So this square I'm going to put down here. So I'm going to start with my teal. And I mean, you could completely turn your square as well. But I'm going to do the teal, the gold, the silver, and the plum here. My next one started with the plum, then gold. And again, you can see why it's important to keep them in their little piles so you know the orientation of each sort of crazy piece. And then this next one starts with the silver and the plum, then the island waters and the gold, and we'll finish up with the gold, silver, move these all over a little bit, the plum, and the island waters. And then once I've dry fit them all and I know kind of where my pattern is and how I like it, I can make any changes that I want. And then I'm just going to go in and attach these all, adhere these all down with my repositionable tape runner. And the nice thing is that these papers are foiled on one side. So the same pattern is on the back, but it's just plain paper. So there's none of the metallic foiling on the back side. So they adhere really, really nicely. So that's really what I did. Again, slightly different cuts there, but I think you could get the idea of what a great layout it would be going across the bottom or the top of a 2-page spread, down the sides of a 2-page spread. You can certainly do 1-page spreads with either the vertical or the horizontal photos. Really, the sky's the limit with this technique. And of course, the color combinations are interchangeable as well. So that is the Let It Shine version of my crazy squares that you could do with your customers to really highlight and promote this gorgeous buffet without using a lot of that gorgeous paper. You're really going to stretch it. So next I wanted to play a little bit with the new Ornate Ripples border punch, because again, this is such a versatile and useful border punch. It's not specifically tied to any one theme. I think this is going to be really useful as a decorative border punch for a lot of different applications. So I thought I would play around with the Let It Shine papers, the Molten Lava papers, and see what I could come up with in terms of using many of the colors again in a layout. So of course I went ahead and punched out, here's the green and the red, which I didn't use in the other project that we just saw. And of course those are lovely, and I think they'd be great for Christmas layouts, for example, and I could see stacking those up. But then I thought, well, what about creating some dual colored borders or multicolored borders? So I played around a little bit, and I thought I would share with you another idea for a multicolored layout. This one uses all 6 of the colors. Of course, we're on black background here, so we're not using the black molten lava, but it uses all 6 of the other colors. And you can see that I only have 3 borders here, but I've used all 6 colors. So how do we create a multicolored version of this beautiful Ornate Ripples? So first of all, we're going to take a 1.5-inch strip of whichever one of the colors you want to use. So I've got the cranberry here, 1.5 inches wide by 12 inches long. And then we're going to take a piece that is half the size. So this is 3/4 of an inch by 12 inches. And we're actually going to attach those 2 pieces right now before we do any punching at all. So I'm just applying a fairly good amount of repositionable adhesive. You can use the regular adhesive as well. And I'm just going to layer this right on top of my red, the cranberry strip. So I have kind of a multicolored piece now. Now, when we punch a little piece like this, we're going to need a little handle, because of course, as I put this into my punch, I'm not going to see the edge of it. And we have to see the edge and line it up with one of the 2 black markings on the front of the punch in order to get the punch to work correctly. So just take a little Post-it note, line it up, the short edge of your strip, and that way, when we put it into our punch carefully, we're going to be able to use that yellow piece of the Post-it note as a guide to where we want to start to punch. So basically, I'm lining up the edge of the yellow Post-it note with one of the black lines on the front of my punch, and then I can go ahead and punch. And as I move it through, of course, we've got the Post-it note still attached there. Don't worry, that will come off. We're just going to move our punch along, and now you can start to see how our 2 colors are creating that multicolored border. So isn't that fun? Just another way to incorporate more than just one of those beautiful papers into one punch. So again, the back is going to be solid because we use the full size, 1.5-inch size of the red molten lava, the cranberry molten lava. And then we added that narrower piece of the green. So that's what I've done here for in a couple of different color combinations. So there's the red and green. I did the silver and gold together, and then the island waters and plum. And then those 3 borders at the bottom almost kind of create a bit of a rainbow. So I used the same colors again as mats for 6 3-inch photos at the top. I wanted to take it one step further though and see if I could create a 3-colored version of this punch. So again, I have a 1.5-inch strip of the red, the cranberry. I have a 1/2-inch strip of the green. I'm going to add that to one edge. And then I have a 1/2-inch strip of the silver, the platinum. So I'll add that to the opposite edge. So just a quick little, cut and paste, and we've now got a multicolored strip. We're going to do the same thing. We need a fresh handle with the sticky part on it. Line it up at the side. We're going to go ahead and punch. And as it starts to come out, we're going to see that now we have a tri-color border. And of course you could do these with a variety of, tonal papers would be beautiful. I think doing 2 or more layers of cardstock might be a little hard for the punch to get through. But definitely doing 2 layers of the designer weight papers. And you can create these amazing tri-color, multicolor borders. So I think that that is so much fun as well. So again, lots of impact with just a little bit of paper. So I hope that's given you a variety of ideas of how you can use these gorgeous papers, not only for your own scrapbooking, but maybe as a little mini class or a make and take, something that you can do with your customers to really show them that they definitely need all 7 of these colors. So we hope you enjoy the Let It Shine or Molten Lava Foiled Paper Buffet. And we know that you're going to love Copper Canyon too. So thanks very much for spending some time with me today. Enjoy the rest of your advisor event and all the best with this launch coming up on September 8th. Thanks very much. Bye-bye for now.